Hello YouTube, welcome to another section for overview of future support. This time it's going to be Nubatama's. My name is Michael Green. Been playing Nubatama's around the end of last year. The support that's coming out is going to be based around the new keyword called Domination. The previous keyword for the support was After Image. After Image was a keyword that revolved around binding, the binding of cards, allowing your units to come back and replenish your hand. The new word is Domination, so we're gonna go with that first. We're gonna talk about Domination. After that, we'll talk about the trial deck that's coming up, as well as the booster set support that's coming out for Nubatama's. So with Domination, the ruling for Domination is a domination ability allows you to change the state of the specified unit to a dominated state. It is done in the following form. The affected unit changes to stand state, if possible, and its state becomes dominated. Choose one unit that is not dominated, and a dominated unit goes to attack that unit immediately. After attacking, if there are no longer units that can be attacked or the dominated unit becomes unable to attack more, the unit stops being dominated. The turn continues in current phase where the domination ability was activated. So in short, Domination allows you to take control of your opponent's rear guards and allows them to attack whichever unit, most preferably the Vanguard. So coming from After Image to Domination, it's a lot more aggressive. It allows into this the current meta where multi attacks are much favored and tend to be the top decks in the formats. So it's bringing Nubatama's into that pool of decks that allows for multiple attacks. But it's a different take because it also allows you to keep your hand and allows you to just control your opponent's units and use them to attack instead. So the first support we're really seeing this, they're coming in hand in hand, but where it starts really is the new child deck, which is the Evil Eye Sovereign, which should be coming out September 1st of 2017, so it's a couple of months away. It's gonna be the 13th one, and we're gonna start with the new grade 3 and boss monster, Demon Stealth Dragon Shirinu Oboro. So skill is Auto Vanguard Circle. At the beginning of your ride phase, you may choose a card from your opponent's drop zone. If you do, your opponent calls that card to rear guard circle, and at the end of that turn, retire that unit. Domination, Auto Vanguard Circle. When your G unit strides, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards, dominate it as stand, gets plus 4k until the end of the turn, and it attacks another of your opponent's units. You may pay the cost to use its ability as well. So Shirinui's got a new skill compared to his older version, which favored the After Image keyword. So now he essentially gives himself the ability to control your opponent's units on stride, which you're able to dominate a unit, give it plus 4k, and attack whichever unit you want. But also, during the beginning of your ride phase, he allows you to set up your opponent's board with a unit from their drop zone in case they don't want to commit to the board, scared of, in fear of you controlling one of their units. So overall, very solid new grade 3 new boss monster, and also another Shirinui name for your grade 3 lineup, because that's one of the things that hurt the previous After Image build, was the fact that if you didn't get Shirinui, it was going to be a very hard time. So now we have another unit, so we're able to fill up those spots for Shirinui on the grade 3 spot. The new one of the new strides, which is a basic one from the trial deck, its skill is Domination, Auto Vanguard Circle. At the beginning of your battle phase, choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards, dominate it as stand, and it attacks another of your opponent's units. You may pay the cost to use its ability as well. So pretty much almost the same thing as Shirinui's on stride ability. You just dominate a unit and you get a free attack off, and that's one of the greatest things about Domination is that as you'll see, most of the costs are quite low. It doesn't really cost much. There's not much counter blasts or soul blast. You really don't have to commit as much as it was before in the After Image builds. So you're just getting free attacks right off the bat. A grade 2 that comes into the trial deck is Stealth Dragon Genkai. Auto Rearguard Circle, Generation Break 1, active. activate is GB1. Counterblast 1. So blast 1, when the dominant unit attacks during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Shiranui and its card name, you may pay the cost. And if you do, you draw a card, and this unit gets plus 2k until the end of the turn. Genkai is a solid grade 2 for the domination keyword playstyle as well. As you'll see later, whenever you see the opportunity to use his skill, it'll help replenish your hand. Also, you'll see that because we don't really use much counterblasts as well, only for our strides, if you ever get in a pinch where you need to, get your hand back, he combos very well with the future strides that I'll talk about. And also, he gives that plus 2k to himself, so it allows him to automatically hit the Vanguard. Alright, the next unit is going to be grade 1, Stealth Dragon Saizu. Sorry if I butchered that name. When a dominate unit attacks during your turn, this unit gets plus 3k until the end of the turn. So he's pretty much the Bruno of domination. Gets plus 3k for every dominate unit's attack, and you'll see that it combos off very well with the future strides that I'll talk about, Mugen Lord in particular. So he gets those big numbers as well, and really helps push for those after, because during your main phases when you're normally doing the domination, which is very good because it helps you set up the numbers for your actual units that you're going to be attacking the Vanguard. Just throwing this one in there, we got a Margot clone. Put this into your soul, choose one of your fighter's rear guards, and it gets plus 3k at the end of the turn. It's a nice little thing to have. The new starter that supports domination is its Forerunner skill, GB1. When a dominant unit attacks your turn, you can pay the cost. If you do, draw a card, choose up to one of any of your rear guards, or one of any rear guards, and it gets plus 2k at the end of the turn. This is actually great for if your opponent doesn't want to commit to the board, especially for striding first. It allows you to, on stride skill, use Shiranui's skill to dominate their starter, give plus 4k, so that starter will go most likely from 5 to 9. Can't hit your Vanguard, can't hit their Vanguard, but then you can use this skill automatically, put into the soul, and give that starter plus 3k, which allows it to then hit the Vanguard. So it's nice, solid Forerunner. Also gives you a nice card in hand, so all in all, pretty solid. So those are the cards that I feel are the best ones to speak about in the child deck. So we're going to move on to booster set 11, Demonic Advent. We're going to start off with the new boss stride, which is amazing for this deck. Is Enma Stealth Rogue Mugen Lord. So skill, Domination Act, Counterblast 1, so once per turn as well. Counterblast 1, choose up to the same number of rear guards as the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone, and they get of any rear guard. So choose up to the same number of any rear guards as the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone, and they get plus 4k until the end of the turn. Dominate all your opponent's choosing units as stand, and each one of those units attacks. So this guy right here is very good, very, very good. Pretty much, you want him to be your second stride. You'll see the first stride coming up. When you have him set up, you have their board set up, or they've committed. You can punish them for that as well, so you'll be able to dominate. If he's your second stride, minimum 3 units. That's three free attacks for the cost of just 1 counterblast. And overall, it's just great. Towards the end game, this card is going to be nasty. If they're at 5 damage and they have a full board, and you have 5 G units faced up, they're pretty much going to die at that point. Next card, Enma Stealth Dragon Maguntembo. I believe that this should be your first stride. He's similar to Mugen Lord, but let's go over the skill. So skill is Domination Act, Counterblast 1 once per turn. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards, and it gets plus 2k for each face-up card in your G-Zone until the end of the turn. Dominate that unit as stand, and attacks another of your opponent's units, and at the end of the turn, at the end of that battle, retire the dominant unit. So what he's good at is that he's a spot removal for any problem card that's on the field. Also, he he works similar to the way Mugen Lord works, is depending on how many cards you have face up on the G zone, that's how big they get. It's not how many you actually dominate. So you target one unit and you give it plus 2k for each, so you can get some crazy numbers with that card. And then at the end of that battle, it gets retired. So overall, it's a solid card. To me, it's going to be a great first stride. Helps you set up for next turn, which is Mugen Lord, which will give you that 3 dominating units right off the bat. So you'll get off of Shirnui, that's 1 attack, and then 3 more attacks with Mugen Lord. That's very good. Very good setup card. Very solid card. Next card is Rikudo Stealth Dragon Geharukan. This is going to be our new G guard, which skill is Domination. Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on G guard circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 rear guards in the back row, dominate it, move it to your guard circle. It is regarded as your guardian during that battle. So this is a great defensive G guard. For the cost of Counter Blast, Soul Blast 1, you're able to pretty much mess with your opponent's combos, if any. For example, one of the popular decks right now is Night Rose. If they have a Necrobone in the back, you just dominate that unit, bring out to the front to the guard circle, and it's gone, it's out of your way. Or for example, against Messiahs, you can take away a Sacrifice Messiah right off the bat, and that will definitely hurt your opponent's resources. So overall, it's a great card. Next we have Stealth Dragon Fudai, which is very good, very good to counterpart with, to work alongside Mugen Lord. So act, rearguard circle once per turn, GB1, Soul Blast 1, choose a card from your opponent's drop zone. Your opponent calls that card to his or her open rearguard circle, and at the end of turn, retires that unit. GB1, auto, when another unit attacks during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Shiranui in its card name, this unit gets plus 2k until the end of the turn. So this is, if I'm not believe, it's kind of like the Brenius of Nubatama's for Domination. He gets some crazy numbers during those Mugen Lord turns where you're just dominating multiple units, and he's just getting plus 2 for every single attack that you go off. And also gets counter for your units as well, so he can get quite big. Also, he helps you set up for Mugen Lord with his Soul Blast 1. You call a unit from the drop zone to rearguard circle. So very valuable. You know, this is going to be a staple for sure. Overall, very solid card. Combined with that grade 1 from the trial deck, the numbers will just get huge, just insanely huge after all those attacks that they received. This will be a heavy blow right at the end. Next we have Stealth Dragon Usuroi. It's going to be the new G guard, no, not G guard, sorry, the new Perfect Guard. So, you know, it's a normal Perfect Guard. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. Can't get touched. But then his second skill, which is amazing, it's almost like the Shadows. Auto drop zone. Choose one of your other Stealth Dragon Usuroi from your drop zone and put it into the bottom of your deck. When a dominated unit attacks that hits Vanguard during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, return this card to your hand. So it's a great pressure card. Just having it right there in the drop zone, 2 of them, lets you recycle one Perfect Guard, put another one back to your hand. It's just overall very solid card. Recommend this one. You can run the Unflipping Perfect Guard if you'd like, but from what I'm seeing so far, I don't believe Counter Blast will be an issue. You already have other resources that allows you to unflip damage, and I believe that this is going to be the go-to one that you want to go for. Stealth Dragon Tenrei. Continuous GB1. During your turn, your Vanguard with Shiranui in its card name gets all your opponent's Vanguards, card names, clans, races, and nation. GB1 auto, put this into your soul. When attack hits a Vanguard during the battle that this unit attacked or boosted, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and discards it. This card is great. It really helps set up any auto abilities that your opponent's rear guards will have when they swing at you, when you swing at them. For example, you have if you're swinging at them with like a History Maker, you'll be able to use his skill, Counter Blast 1, and time leap one of your units, do some shenanigans like that. But his second skill is also great because it's also pressure, because once they've taken all those attacks from their own units, and then they're gonna not want to have to take an attack from this, so they're either gonna have to guard it, which is gonna be a card out of their hand either way, or if they don't put into the soul, they discard another card. So this really harkens back to Nubatama's play style of taking cards away from your hand. Very solid card. Stealth Dragon Tengai. When a dominant unit attacks during your turn, at the end of the turn, this unit gets auto regard circle. Put this unit into your soul. At the end of your turn, you may pay the cost if you do counter charge 1. So this is great. Fills your soul, unflips the damage. You're always most likely going to be dominating units, so this skill will most likely always go off. The great thing about the grade ones in Nubatama is like there's just so much utility. They help you a lot with your resources or the pressure. Like, so overall, Stealth Dragon Tengai is a solid card. Like I said, it helps unflip, so you don't really need to use the unflipping perfect guard. You got this. Fills your soul for Fukai, and also unflips. The next one is gonna be Stealth Beak Uzui Itachi. There you go. GB1, retire this unit. When a dominant unit attacks, hits during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and discards it. Another great card. You're always going to be pressuring them with your dominant unit. If they hit, if they don't want to block it, you can punish them with this. If you already have it on the field, you retire it, takes a card right out of their hand. So once again, supporting Nubatama's play style of taking cards away from their hand. So very solid grade 2. I would run this at maybe 2 or 3. I think it's just a great card. New crit trigger, hardworking stealth flow, Torasada. Act, put into your soul, counter charge 1. Once again, helps you unflip damage, helps you feed the soul for Furai. This also works very well for After Image, because After Image really goes about having less cards than your opponents in hand to activate certain skills, for example, the stand trigger or Miyabi. So a very good card to have. I don't see why not to run it. Stealth Fiend Daruma Collapse, stand trigger, GB1, retire this unit. When any fighter's unit stands due to an effect from your opponent's cards during your turn, due to an effect from cards during your turn, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose any number of any fighter's units in the same column as that unit, and they get plus 2k until the end of the turn. If you do, choose one or more units to draw a card. It's a good card, solid card if you want to run stand triggers in there. Helps give numbers to your opponent's units, if anything. One of the things that hurt, or the weakness of Domination, is the fact that if they hit a defensive trigger, most of your players can tend to go dead. So this can help try to remedy that. You give plus 2k to those units, just try to give a little bit more power, just so they can hit the Vanguard, reach that magic number, that sweet spot. Also pays for itself, lets you draw a card, so pretty good card. And there's gonna be reprints, which are definitely needed for this clan. It's gonna be a reprint of the old Shiranui, as well as Fuki and the Shiranui Crypt, which is most definitely needed. So look forward to that. Thanks to these reprints, it's going to be very accessible for most people, or more accessible than it was before. I'm sure that the prices for these units are going to be quite high, but look forward to these reprints. They're going to be in the set. Overall solid reprints. So my final thoughts, I think the Domination, it's going to propel the Nubatama clan hopefully to tier 1. The thing with After Image was that it was very consistent. You had to just always have the right things in your hand. I mean, like most decks, but this one more so. You needed the right cards to have in hand, and one of the things that hurt the deck was you were always gridlocked at 7 cards in hand for the After Image abilities to go off. So you can never have more than 7. So you sometimes would have to, get rid of some resources. But when it comes to Domination, that's not the issue anymore. Now it's just, very aggressive. You're going at your opponent with their own units. You're setting up their board. You're it's essentially it's the same aspect where you're trying to get rid of cards from their hands, but in a different way, in a more aggressive way, where they have to block attacks because there's so many attacks coming their way that they needed this. That's how they're discarding their hand, so their hand keeps going lower and lower. So overall, I think Domination is going to be a great asset to the clan. I think it's just gonna, it's very fun. I mean, we played the proxied version of this deck, and it's just amazing. It's just a very fun mechanic. I think the support that's already coming out, as you can see, it's just very well done. Really gives it those needed cards to help be consistent. Allowing you to consistently get the cards out of your opponent's drop zone, able to call them so you can use them to your advantage in case they want to hold back. So it solves a lot of issues, but like I said, one of the weaknesses is just going to be those defensive triggers or maybe Angel Feathers, those units like that. For example, Broken Heart or Gabrielle herself, if she gets hit, plus 2k, or if she has a trigger, it's just going to be worse. But overall, I think Nubatama is heading in the right direction. We just hope for better for the next set after, which I'm sure they're going to be getting a Vanguard dominating Stride, which is most likely going to be the Stride Fusion. But all in all, solid cards, great future ahead of them. And thanks for listening. If you have any thoughts, any recommendations or suggestions, just put them down in the comments below. So hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you.